This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to a special Troll Patrol Live, where apparently Trump has just been found liable of the sexual assault of Jean Carroll. We are awaiting the press conference outside of the courthouse. Let's go ahead and head over to CBS News.
Which is a long way of saying the civil case, the criminal case, and even the federal criminal investigation into an...
So I'm assuming the verdict has already been read inside of the courthouse, and that's how reporters were aware, found not liable of rape,
damages potentially be as
liable of sexual assault.
Where you expect to hear the official announcement of the jury's decision in this case. What if it's a split?
So that is what it is a split decision.
The most egregious charge.
How does CBS not know this?
Not guilty, but perhaps if the president is liable on the other counts, what would damages possibly
But the official reading of the verdict to reporters outside of the courthouse,
in this case, to
moments away.
Split decision because the defamation, the allegedly
Red line, I am fantastic.
based on Trump's...
This is not a criminal trial.
And she's not my...
This is a defamation trial.
Doing this as the, quote, big con job. This is a big hoax. And
This is a civil case.
The denial is the alleged defamation.
He will be held financially liable for the
Jessica,
decision here.
Thank you for answering that question. We are getting a confirmation now that the jury has in fact split its decision, finding the president not guilty on the rape claim, but liable for defamation and battery. The CBS News special report on this starts now.
I guess we'll find out what the jury's award is here momentarily. I'm not high enough for this shit.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Nora O'Donnell in Washington.
What up, Nora?
With news about former President Donald Trump, as a jury in New York has found that Trump sexually abused and defamed Jean Carroll and awarded her $5 million in damages.
$5 million in damages.
Case there that went on for the past 2 weeks. It was.
I would say that's not a lot of money.
Just started deliberating this morning. The jury.
But Trump is broke, so.
Did not rape Carroll, but that he is liable for battery and for defamation. Want to bring in Elaine Quijano, who is there and has been covering this trial. Elaine?
That doesn't mean...
Well, Nora, it took this jury of 6 men and 3 women...
That doesn't mean that Trump did not rape her. It means that the jury didn't feel there was enough evidence to conclude that it was rape.
Now, Jean Carroll, the writer, had alleged that Donald Trump had raped her in a New York City department store dressing room in 1996. That is a claim that Donald Trump repeatedly denied. During the trial, Carroll had...
I believe Jean Carroll.
...to report that to police, something that Trump's defense attorney, Joe Tacopina, had questioned. That attorney also had pressed Carroll on why she could not remember the exact date of the alleged assault.
Because she was traumatized.
In order to sell more copies of her autobiography. Now, for his part,
let the woman make some money off of her autobiography.
During this trial here, and even suggested as recently as last week that he would cut his trip overseas short in order to do that. His attorney saying in closing arguments, though, after the former president declined to appear.
We are awaiting the official press conference.
Other than denying her claim. But Nora, as you said, a surprisingly quick decision.
I thought it was quick.
I can tell you that the instructions to the jury this morning from the judge were quite lengthy. It was 10 questions on this verdict form that the jury had to consider. Clearly, unanimity seemed to be something that was with this group from the start, given just how quickly this decision came.
Elaine Quijano, thank you. Yes, a remarkably quick verdict from this.
Especially for a case with this kind of weight on it.
First time in history that a former president of the United States has been found liable for sexual assault and battery. Former President Trump, as Elaine noted, did
Wow.
testify. However, Roberta Kaplan, the attorney for E. Jean Carroll, said that Trump was a witness against himself, in part because of that defamation tape that many of us have seen, in which the president talked about not only the Access Hollywood tape, where he boasted in the past about grabbing a woman in her sexual parts, as well as confusing who E. Jean Carroll was. Remember, the defense...
He thought E. Jean was his wife.
He wouldn't have raped someone like that. And yet this picture...
Confused her with Marla.
This picture, that's E. Jean Carroll there on the left-hand side. He thought it was Marla Maples, his ex-wife. He seemed confused when he was then pointed out, even by his own attorney, that no, that's the accuser, E. Jean Carroll. Then he said, well, it's blurry. But as Roberta Kaplan, the attorney, said, Trump lied. That picture wasn't blurry. Let's bring in CBS.
Of course he lied.
Ricky Kleeman. I know, Ricky, you have been covering this trial from the beginning. Your take about how this jury was able to deliberate so quickly.
Well, there was only really one question for this jury, Nora, and that was, did they believe E. Jean Carroll? And when you look at E. Jean Carroll's testimony, you're really looking at the testimony not only of one woman, you're looking at the testimony of 5 women. Because what you have is the plaintiff, E. Jean Carroll, and her story about what she says happened to her around 1996. But you're also looking at 2 what we call fresh complaint witnesses, people she told right at that particular...
I have a feeling this is just the start
with 2 other victims
of many bad days legally for Donald Trump to come.
But it is the story of the Access Hollywood tape. It's precisely the same story 3 times. So the worst witness against Donald Trump was Donald Trump, because they had the Access Hollywood tape, as you pointed out, and in his own deposition, it was really somewhat of a disaster.
Hey, what's up, my friend?
If you're a
Warlord, so glad to see all of you. We are awaiting the official press conference.
And those are the kind
Trump
of...
found liable for sexual assault against columnist E. Jean Carroll. Not liable for rape. Carroll awarded $5 million in damages.
$5 million that the former president liable for. I do want to ask you, though, Ricky, they did find him not liable for rape, but they did find him liable for sexual battery. What does that mean?
Well, it could mean a lot of things, Nora. It could mean that there was a compromise in the jury room about what actually happened, about how they thought about her description. She was very, very emphatic about the use of his finger and the pain that it caused. And a lot of her memories were about that finger. Now, in many jurisdictions...
Oh, and it was 5 guys.
Penetration of the vagina by a finger would also be considered rape. But perhaps this jury...
But perhaps 5 guys were like, oh, he didn't rape her.
That they saw and heard enough to say, well, perhaps it wasn't rape for all kinds of extraneous reasons. But nonetheless, they felt that one question down, they could find it a sexual abuse. They didn't go further down the list of the judge's lesser included offenses, as we lawyers would say. But sexual battery is a forcible touching, plus more.
And Ricky, we should note, too, this is a civil case, not a criminal case. And so the burden of proof is different. Explain.
In a criminal case, the burden of proof is to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a huge burden. As I often say on the scales of justice...
Preponderance of evidence, or whatever it's called in the civil trial.
You have to believe the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. So if you suspected, if you get, that wasn't enough. But in a civil case, the burden is preponderance of the evidence. Nora, that's like putting a feather on the scales of justice. It's about 51%.
It's an excellent way to describe it. Ricky Kleeman, thank you so much for your expertise. Want to bring in our chief Washington correspondent, Major Garrett. And Major, Donald Trump is running for president again. What is the political effect of this?
So not only is Donald
Looks like a minor Garrett to me.
nomination, he's the front runner. He's right now the undisputed front runner. And by all polling,
And that's wild.
recently, a very, very strong, likely Republican nominee. The political effect of this will come out over time, but this trial
But we've got a long way to go.
sketch of the former president. And his attorney said, you could say that former President Trump is rude and crude, but he didn't do these specific things. Also arguing, by implication, these would be out of character for the former president. The jury did not agree with that. The jury said, as a matter of fact,
Good Lord, no.
presented to us, this is precisely the character. Now, those on the political side of former President Trump would say, you know what? That was adjudicated in the 2016 election. The country looked at this character sketch and said, you know what? It's okay. We'll elect him president. That character sketch now comes back with
That's because right-wingers are morons.
in a legal courtroom and an assignment of a fine against former President Trump. So that character question now is raised in a very different context. And there's been a proceeding, an adversarial one, where Donald Trump had every opportunity to defend himself in person, looking at across that courtroom at Eugene Carroll.
Is he even in the United States right now?
Not want him to do that. So the character sketch that emerges from this civil
He was in Scotland. I don't know if he's back.
Donald Trump's attorneys will no doubt appeal this
course.
particular ruling, but this is the first time that a jury has found a former president of the United
I
States
guess he is because there is a town hall with CNN tomorrow night.
in this case. And as has been noted, this in many ways, in addition to a character test, this was also a matchup between two different types of attorneys, where Donald Trump didn't show up. Joe Tacopina, his attorney, didn't present much of a defense. And in fact, really the only evidence out there was Donald Trump's own deposition, which ended up being quite damning.
As Ricky Kleeman pointed out, the former president said, fortunately or unfortunately, but that fortunately word hangs out there predominantly. Fortunately, for years and years, the former president said millions of years, it clearly wasn't.
You could grab him by the pussy.
Never been allowed to get away with this. Fortunately?
By grabbing a woman, yeah.
Yes, in an unwanted, battery-type, aggressive way.
What a piece of shit. Yes.
Precisely. And in 2016, I remember it well. I covered it hour by hour by hour. It was still kind of an abstraction. Oh, he talks this way. He said it was locker room talk. He would never act this way.
The Access Hollywood tape.
Yes.
Trump's defense was not that he didn't do it. Trump's defense was that he was allowed to do it.
Rape? We have no way of knowing that for sure, but we know something bad. Something unwarranted and unwanted, unwelcome happened. And then the former president lied about it. That's the defamation part of it. Oh, and to compound the factual inaccuracies perpetuated by this former president, this morning on social media, he said he was unconstitutionally silenced in this proceeding. That is a complete lie.
Yep.
He was given every opportunity. The judge provided 3 more days in case the former president wanted to testify. That's not unconstitutional silencing. That is a strategy that failed.
It really is an interesting case in many ways because the attorney, Roberta Kaplan, for E. Jean Carroll, who is quite skilled, pointed out that Trump lied multiple times.
I thought I saw a puppy tail
Then there was the picture, and then he
come into frame.
his wife, Marla Maples. Trump said, well, I'd never been to Bergdorf Goodman's, the department store in New York. And Roberta Kaplan said, well, he lied because we've got someone testifying that he frequently visited the store. Trump lied when he said that the photo was blurry. Here, look at the photo. It's quite clear. Anybody can see there. It's a clear picture. So it was, again, in many ways, saying that Trump...
That's crystal fucking clear.
And that is usually... It's usually sometimes the one who makes the accusation is not believed.
Precisely.
And I love that, like, there's barely any Trump in the photo, but you can absolutely tell that is Trump. That is Trump's eyebrow.
And inaccuracies and strategic lies.
Major Garrett, thank you. And just to recap, A jury in New York has found former President Donald Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation in a civil case, awarding the former columnist E. Jean Carroll nearly $5 million in damages. Want to thank Elaine Cajano and Ricky Kleeman. Our coverage will continue on CBS News Streaming, your local news, and we're going to have a full wrap-up of what this all means tonight on the CBS.
Where's the press conference?
CBS News special report. I'm Norah O'Donnell in Washington.
Well, you've been watching a CBS News special report on some breaking news. Former President Trump has been found liable for defamation and battery. The jury did not find him, however, liable for rape in connection to writer E. Jean Carroll's civil case.
Apparently, we are still waiting outside of the courthouse.
It's just 3 hours to come to this verdict today. Carroll was awarded $5 million in...
I guess Norah O'Donnell had to, she had to jet.
We've been discussing in a department store back in the mid-90s. The former columnist also alleged that following the assault, the former president defamed her publicly.
But what that was that was their break-in to the actual network.
Jessica is a CBS News legal...
We're watching like their 24-hour feed. They just broke into the network coverage there.
The fact that Trump decided not to show up for the trial.
It would be hilarious if it was just spinning perpetually.
Extending the time period in which he could. But now we're hearing him on social media saying, well, I was being silenced. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about whether it hurt him that he didn't show up and that all the...
Do we need...
Was that deposition, or was that deposition so damaging that...
We need the door to have its own feed here. Hold on.
Or I actually have another theory that the deposition was in fact really damaging, but that the former president's attorney, Joe Tacopino, decided, I think rationally, that live testimony could have been even worse. Having Donald Trump up on the stand in front of the jury and having Roberta Kaplan, who is arguably one of the most skilled attorneys in our nation, be able to cross-examine him, I think would have potentially been the end of the case. Not that the case wasn't already over, but that would be a huge risk for somebody like the former president who has very...
Non-stop coverage of the door.
And there is still a little distance when the jury sees him say, oh, well, maybe the photograph is blurry, or that's Marla, oh no, it's not. There's a little distance when it's on a video. If he's right there lying to them,
here we go.
Even worse for him. And I'm not sure, frankly, that it was the wrong calculation. Even though he lost, maybe the jury would have deliberated for 30 minutes instead of 3 hours if he testified.
Jessica Levinson giving us her legal perspective on this breaking story. Jessica, stand by for us. We want to connect now with...
Oh, it does look like E. Jean Carroll has just walked out, though, if this is a live...
I think our Elaine Cajano is there. Elaine, can you tell us what you're seeing? Or perhaps let's listen in to Carroll's response to the jury's decision.
I am glad Washington Post is sticking with the door.
Past those microphones that we have been watching for so long, deciding not to speak then.
Elaine Cajano, can Elaine hear us? And if so, tell us what you're seeing.
I hear you.
Deja vu, Washington Post.
E. Jean Carroll appears to be speaking right now. Looks like, or at least it looks like
slightly delayed.
It's a bit hard to tell from our vantage point, but as you can imagine, an enormous amount of attention here, given the prominence of this particular case. This jury of 6 men and 3 women took less than 3 hours to come to this decision. Remarkably quick decision, finding the former president of the United States, Donald Trump.
And yeah, I can't even imagine that it's about the money. It's about the principle. And good for her.
Anticipating is that perhaps it might take a little while to go through all 10 of the questions that were on this verdict form. Some background on this: E. Jean Carroll had alleged that Donald Trump had raped her in a New York City department store dressing room in 1996. Donald Trump had repeatedly denied that.
All right, Washington Post, back to the door.
Carroll had explained that at the time of this alleged attack,
somebody hit the door. Oh, wait a minute, we're not on Twitter.
What happened?
I mean Twitch. I'm sorry. We don't have Twitch emotes.
Donald Trump's defense
Twitch and Twitter, they are too close to each other.
continue to look around just to see if there are any attorneys who may be wanting to speak. I see members of E. Jean Carroll's defense team, E. Jean Carroll's legal team actually speaking with our colleague Graham Cates right now. But what I can tell you from one of our fellow colleagues, Claire Himes, who was there in the courtroom actually as the jury's decision was read.
Face blue smiling. I don't even know what that emoji is.
Left the courtroom. E. Jean Carroll turned and embraced her lawyers. As you can imagine, this has been an extremely emotional case. There has been extremely graphic and explicit testimony, including today, I should point out, the instructions from the judge in separating out the various elements of what
I mean, she's coming up on like 10 years of pursuing justice.
Kind of, legal definitions in the context.
This is a long process.
It was quite graphic and explicit to hear.
Basically put on hold when he became president.
You know, apologies for being this explicit, essentially, but he said, I have no choice in talking about these various questions that they have to consider.
Not this specific. This is about defamation. Trump saying that he didn't rape her.
Anonymous throughout the course of this trial. The judge called it an important and hard task, the one that was set before them, and called it really the bedrock of the system to have jurors come and...
Is there something I need to do for YouTube, Warlord? Let me know. I'll do it.
In court, whether or not there was liability in this case. Now, the judge also advised these jurors not to identify themselves, and then he ordered them...
You get some freaking emotes if you become a member on YouTube.
Direction with respect to what should happen and what the judge would recommend with respect to these jurors.
I think you get Charlie Kirk, which is not on Twitch.
That we should mention. It's not.
Twitch will never approve the Charlie Kirk sexual anarchy. You get that on YouTube.
To appeal at this point, but certainly we're waiting to see if any of the attorneys in the case on either side make statements, and we'll of course bring those to you.
You live in sexual anarchy.
Feel free at any moment, Elaine, to direct us where you want to go as we continue to cover this breaking reaction. One detail to...
Well, we have a feed of the door.
Also driving away with $5 million. Go ahead, you've got something to...
Down the bottom right-hand corner.
Well, I was just going to say that Claire Himes, my colleague here...
Trump will never pay that $5 million. He ain't got it.
Has been saying in response to this trial and now after a decision. He just posted moments ago. I have absolutely no idea who this woman is. This verdict is a disgrace. He called it a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. Now,
remember, he has no idea who she is. He's in a picture with her.
From October of 2022 that the jurors had available to consider, in which Donald Trump denied knowing E. Jean Carroll, denied ever attacking her. He was given ample opportunity by the judge in this case, Judge Kaplan, to come and testify here in the course of the trial. In fact, the judge extended...
Is that an emote of Japan?
So that Donald Trump, who had been overseas and suggested at one point he was going to cut his trip short and come over and testify, he declined to do that. And so that deadline of Sunday night came and went. Closing arguments happened on Monday. Tuesday morning, this morning, jury instructions were given by the judge, and now here we are, less than 3 hours after they first went back to deliberate with that decision. Remarkable turn of events in quite a short period of time, frankly. People who have been watching this case and looking at
unholy
the considerations that the jurors had to kind of factor in are all in agreement.
I mean, Trump is just not paying any kind of bill. That is not a thing he does.
Our colleague Elaine Quijano there outside of the courtroom. We have just learned that the jury has found the former president liable for battery as well as for defamation of character in the civil suit that was brought by E. Jean Carroll regarding sexual battery that took place in the 1990s.
I have no idea how. I guess they're hoping taking on a high-profile case helps him in other ways because they ain't getting paid from Trump.
That she has been vindicated, but we, as Elaine mentioned, the former president says that this is a witch hunt, and he repeats that he still doesn't know who, quote, that woman is.
Basically a pro bono case. to represent Trump.
That's a lie, and his claim that he wasn't allowed to testify or that he was silenced or that he couldn't present a defense is also a lie. And Elaine, with excellent reporting, reminded us that the judge essentially bent over backwards to allow the former president to testify. He asked over and over again, will Trump be attending? Will he be testifying? And then when out of court, the former president said, well, maybe I'm going to cut my vacation short and go and defend myself. The judge said, okay, let me give you some additional time on top of the time I already gave you to let me know if, in fact, you will be coming into court. And he declined. So the idea that he was not afforded process.
Remember, we have a live feed of the door.
There.
Well, close to live. It's like a 15-second delay.
A lie. Now, does he have any recourse? I mean, he can, of course, appeal.
This is the most important door in the world right now.
We all have the jury instructions. I looked at them.
Multiple angles of the door on your screen at this moment.
Jumped out at me as grounds for appeal. I'm sure that there will be certain evidentiary rulings that the former president.
He's nuts. It is a very nice door.
But again,
if we're going to have to watch footage of a door,
in fact, overturned.
This is a very nice door to watch.
Just the enormity of a moment like this for a woman like E. Jean Carroll, a survivor of abuse, to make this claim publicly despite being fearful of coming forward against such a powerful man. She now, the jury has decided, is walking away with $5 million.
He ain't so powerful.
Damages. How does that money move?
He got little tiny baby hands.
A litigious president to former president.
What's he gonna do? How much power can you wield with little tiny baby hands?
What happens here, financially speaking?
Well, financially speaking, I think it's very similar to what his litigation strategy.
God, I miss you guys. I can't wait to be back full time again.
I do think it's worth pointing out, and Errol, you said this so well, this is a historic moment. This is a historic first. That for E. Jean Carroll, and I think this is why her attorneys did not ask for a specific amount.
Oh, no, come on, nuts. That's a nice door. Do not badmouth the door.
Unanimously, we think there was defamation, and we think that there was sexual battery. Is that the same as having your day in a criminal court?
I love you guys so much.
But it is what can be afforded.
Soon. We're getting close.
2 decades later. Now, can the former president try to slow down providing this $5 million? Of course. And you could see, absolutely, you could see litigation about where is the payment? We require the payment. That's something, frankly, that is common. A lot of this is not common, but common throughout courthouses throughout the country is that it can sometimes be difficult to get unsuccessful defendants to pay. But we have remedies for that. I mean, we have a whole area of the law.
I mean, Trump just don't have the fucking money.
But I suspect that.
And even if he did,
will be forced to pay.
Jessica, I just want to ask a clarifying question on that. We know that Trump has fundraised off of the other legal cases that he has.
You know what? I'm not high enough for this shit.
Personally, have to pay the $5 million, or can he crowdsource a legal fund that comes up with his compensation that goes to E. Jean Carroll? Is it possible that he never pays a cent of his own money?
So, yes, that is possible. But what I would say, without getting too much into the weeds of federal election campaign law, is that you can, as a private person, you can absolutely fundraise and say, I have to pay this verdict. I mean, we've all seen GoFundMe, for instance, where people say, I have to pay my rent, I have to pay for these terrible medical expenses, or I have to pay this or that. If the former
thoughts and prayers to you
for this as part of his candidacy, then I think we have some legal questions here. But
and speaking of thoughts and prayers, I haven't got to give my rant about the shooting over the weekend.
I need a check. I need this $5 million. I shouldn't have to pay this.
The car attack, both of which
type of account where you need to
look like they were motivated by hate.
Jessica Levinson, doing what we're asking you to do, walking us through.
Both attacks seem to be perpetrated by people with neo-Nazi ties.
We appreciate that. We do want to reconnect with our Elaine Quijano outside the courthouse because to zoom.
Apparently.
This is an historic moment for a former president, the Republican frontrunner, to be delivered this type of verdict. You saw as E. Jean Carroll was coming out of the courtroom, that crowd of...
I'm speaking of the H&M shooting on Saturday, I believe it was, in Texas. And then there was the car attack on Sunday, both of which had horrific video.
Yeah, and you know, we have to
so probably a good thing that I wasn't on Twitch, because I would have showed you the video.
Clear and even said her.
And yes, nuts. Leftists are always cannibalizing each other.
This was about her name and getting that back.
But just know, producer Dave and I always going to be buddies.
In her legal team.
Always going to have Media Winch on my side, and I'm always going to have their back.
Financial amount.
You can take that one to the bank.
According to her team and to her, about being believed.
All the rest of those leftists can go fuck themselves.
Atmosphere surrounding this.
I'm staying out of that mess.
There were points where you did see supporters of E. Jean Carroll who would come in the morning and.
I think I have smoothed things over with everyone I had beef with, though.
You could hear them at various points.
Polly, Carpe, everybody's cool with me again.
The reason she wanted to pursue
James from the internet, though, is like.
But for other survivors of sexual assault, and so that
he's
for her. It's difficult.
I've just been joshing him very playfully, and I don't think he's taking it very well.
Painful, clearly testimony that we saw during the course of this trial.
But I like James. I got no beef with James. I think James has a beef with me, though.
Understanding that a jury here in New York City believed her and did so in a way that rendered a very quick verdict.
I popped in their chat. I popped in James's chat, and he was doing a...
really does send a message.
I think it might have even been a fundraiser for something. He had several streamers on.
Going public against the...
Hey, I just said hey and what's up, and they all started... It was very...
Vindication for her many years.
It was very tongue-in-cheek. It was very insider. If you didn't know the beef that we'd had with each other, you wouldn't have got the jokes they were making about me.
And Jessica Levin said...
But I heard them loud and clear.
All of this.
That's right. Standing by to hear from either legal team. If they come out and speak to the press, of course, we will bring that to
Possibly Breadline. I don't know.
So, for the moment, E. Jean Carroll has cleared her name after building her...
I legitimately violated the rules.
This courtroom today.
Now, did somebody report me that should possibly be on my side?
In moments on America Decides.
I have my
CBS News. We're going to take
I have my thoughts on that.
Stay where you are. We'll be right back.
Oh God, I can't. I don't like that I can't hear myself anymore. I have to get a new board. I have to get this shit fixed and get my issues straightened out. Because it was like CBS News was blaring in my ears when usually I would hear myself and the audio would duck. You guys heard me and the audio ducked. I did not. It's very loud in my ears. I had to kill it. It's just if you guys missed that, my old soundboard, the power supply blew on it. And this is right when I'm moving into the new apartment. So, let's just say the electric bill for the first month. Not a lot of fun. The first month's rent, the deposits for the cats, and the security deposit and everything. A lot of money. So, bad time for my soundboard to blow on me. I have a $20 Amazon special over here. I mean, it's doing the job. I can't even get the camera down there. My fucking messy ass desk over here. I need to get a new soundboard. It's not just when I'm doing the show. It's when I'm doing voiceovers and shit. I like to be able to hear myself. I like to hear, because, like, I can tell when I mess up. I can tell, like, when I said something wrong, or when, you know, there's a blip or something. It helps a lot when you're doing hours of voiceover work. I finished up a Christian audio book. It was the biography of this preacher. I've got my opinions now. I don't think any of the things that he described happening in that book actually happened to him. He said he was raped by his father. Yet it sounded like someone who had never been raped trying to describe a rape. If that makes sense. Not that I've ever been raped to know what it's like. I was a content warning. But, like, something that I do know a lot more about is him talking about being on drugs. And he described being on drugs like someone who had never done drugs before, describing somebody being on drugs. In the book, he said that his father called him Penny because he wasn't worth a cent. Like, that was his nickname for him. And then, like, all throughout his life, like, he was at this Christian school for boys or something in his teens, and the counselor kept calling him Penny. And I'm like, that don't sound right. And I told that to my buddy. He's like, dude, I've heard that story a million times. Yeah, my father called me Penny because I wasn't worth a cent. It's like, that's not original. So,
titled, "Will AI Fix Work?"
We're still waiting.
And according to Microsoft,
waiting for this press conference.
People work, organizations.
CBS News is going and finding out what other news be doing.
For everyone.
Jared Spataro joins us now. He is the head of modern work at Microsoft.
Quite
That's
a
new title.
Wow. Yeah, they finding out what other news be doing. They even ended the coverage. Wow. Do you guys want me to stick with let's do the door here. Let's put the door on. We'll put the door on full screen here now, I guess. The door will not lead us wrong. CBS News not even sticking around for the press. Why did I do it that way? I am stupid. Hold on. What a dumbass I am. There we have door. The door will not let us down. We'll also eavesdrop on what the reporters are saying. They don't look like they're going to be giving a press conference. No offense. They look like lovely people, but they just didn't seem to be the press conference-y types. You know, I'm expecting somebody with some folders or a briefcase to walk out the door. I've not encountered many revolving doors in my life. Is there an etiquette for do you go counterclockwise?
We call it came out.
Is that always a thing, or can you go clockwise with the door? These are the questions on everyone's mind. You always go counterclockwise with the door. Okay. So there is proper door etiquette. Is this in a book somewhere? Or do I need to write a book of like unwritten rules in society? You go counterclockwise with a revolving door. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't piss in the wind. You gotta save that piss for pissing in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole. Ah, give me that eye, pussy. I was half asleep. I was getting ready to like lay down on the couch, take a mid-afternoon nap. This has brought me back to life here. Warlord, did you enjoy the coronation? I, as a political commentator, probably should have went live with it. Had the coronation of the king at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. Or Saturday morning. It was Saturday morning. I'm sorry. Motherfucker tried to upstage the Kentucky Derby. Also, I want to talk about the Kentucky Derby because why them horses dead? Too many dead horses. Why them horses dead? What was it, like 9 horses? Not all the Derby, but leading up to the Derby, there's like 9 horses died. So there were 7 horse deaths at Churchill Downs. And then I believe there were 2 more associated with the Kentucky Derby. At least 7 horses died leading up to the Kentucky Derby, though.
Right, whether it's accident or otherwise.
Fuck the king. I'm sorry, Warlord. Like I wanna show you this picture. This picture right here. Like, fuck this dude. Like, that's such a slappable fucking face. How is nobody, like, and I'm probably gonna go terms of service over here. How has nobody just went up and kicked this motherfucker in the balls, stole all his fucking fancy fucking robes? Fuck you, dude. I wanna break that fucking crown. I wanna fucking, how do I say this? If you know what the people of Libya did to Muammar Gaddafi, that is what I would like to do to the king using that fucking scepter he's got in his hand right there. That didn't violate terms of service, did it? Did y'all pick up on what I was saying? Well, fucking stick it up his ass like a fucking rotisserie and parade him around the fucking world. Not God save the king, sodomize the king. That's my position over here. Pissing Dan Crenshaw's eye hole, sodomize this old fuck. This inbred piece of shit motherfucker over here. Sorry, Warlord. I love you. I love you so much. That just pisses me off. All these crusty old fucks in this picture. I hate them all. Never met any of them. Just all of you are shit-ass individuals. Guaranteed. Not a one of you has any redeeming quality. I ran people off with that rant. Back to the door. Because that's what the people want, the door. The numbers on YouTube have spoken. People want to see the door. Oh God, Warlord's sending me a PM over here. Oh my God. You get me a strike on YouTube, I swear. You've met Prince Andrew? Speaking of sodomy. I did not say anything about murder. Warlord. We are still awaiting a press conference outside of a Manhattan courtroom where former President Donald Trump found liable for sexual battery, liable for defamation, not liable for rape. Columnist E. Jean Carroll has been awarded $5 million. Good thing that I wasn't on here for the coronation of the king. I definitely would have got kicked off. Daniel, my friend. Oh man, you should just be able to go to the YouTube settings and get your government name off there. I don't want to try to take a guess. I'm bad at guessing. But are you DJ Dub D? I was just going by the, you know, the double D. In your screen name, the D maybe. Educated guess. Look at that door go. We learned on this stream, you go counterclockwise through a revolving door. I don't have very much revolving door experience. Not to say I've never been through a revolving door, I have. I just don't have much experience. Apparently there is an etiquette with it. The most important door in the world right now, we are watching.
I think that's the only thing that we could do with it.
I'll walk you through it. I don't remember how myself, but there's bound to be a way to do it. Is it in the settings? Account. Event settings. I don't know. I might not ought to do that. I might not ought to go into on my Google account. I might give away personal information. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll go back. If you really want me to, I'll go back and I'll edit it out. Put the VOD back up. I'll take the VOD down. Who gives a shit? I haven't even been on here lately. Also, nobody watches me. I ain't popular. I don't think we're getting a press conference. CBS apparently didn't think we were getting a press conference because they cut away 20 minutes ago now. Yeah, they were like, we're going to find out what that news be doing. We're not going to wait on the press conference. Is that what I'm going to have to do too? Don't think I haven't been up on my task of keeping up on what that news be doing. I could go live anytime and do a stream. 10-year-olds among hundreds of children found working at McDonald's restaurants. That's what that news be doing. Kentucky man got the longest sentence yet of those people charged in January 6th. 14 years for storming the Capitol. However, we still have the sentencing of the Proud Boys and the Three Percenters, or the Oath Keepers, I'm sorry. Not the Three Percenters, the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. For seditious conspiracy, they will come in with the longest prison sentences. Didn't get to talk about Willie Nelson, Missy Elliott, Kate Bush, George Michael, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Apparently that pissed some people off. Your titty is out. Somebody says in a Waffle House fight video. Let's see what we got over here on the Twitter in terms of news be doing. Apparently Ron DeSantis established 9/11 as 9/11 Heroes Day, but apparently did an interview with Piers Morgan and could not tell Piers Morgan where he was on 9/11. Ooh, Harlan Crow's lawyers sent a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee. Really makes it seem like Harlan Crow thinks he can boss around judges. Conservatives took over a Colorado school board. They adopted a right-wing group social studies program, did not reapply for grants to pay counselors, and 40% of the high school's professional staff won't return next year. That sounds about right. Nancy Mace accusing Joe Biden of prostitution rings. RNC making demands about a possible presidential debate. Guys, I don't know that we are going to get a presidential debate this year. Sky Comet. Donald Trump has been found liable for sexual battery and defamation against E. Jean Carroll. Carroll left the courthouse like 30 minutes ago. We've been waiting on a press conference, watching this door here. He was not found liable of rape. So they did not find him liable of rape. They have issued a judgment of $5 million against him. So found liable for sexual battery, liable for defamation. E. Jean Carroll awarded $5 million. We are awaiting a press conference. The jury was made up of 5 men. So predominantly men. One of the reporters said that Carroll's testimony very much was heavy on the pain his finger caused. And that while the legal definition of rape would be penetration with any digit, a jury of predominantly men might be like, well, that's not rape. Well, now not guilty. This is a civil case. So, liable for sexual battery, liable for defamation. And the jury awarded Carroll $5 million. We were watching CBS. This has been going on for about an hour now. How long have I been on? 57 minutes. He definitely has small hands. That's what they were talking about, how powerful a man he was earlier. I'm like, you can't be too powerful because you can't will power with those small hands. You missed my rant about the king. Apparently that happened.
Yeah.
I've been reported for. I don't think I was that explicit. We all love you, Warlord, but yeah, fuck the king. Here's another puppy. I guess they got the bomb-sniffing dogs out. Yeah, I would like to say ACAB means that puppy too, but that puppy's innocent. Puppies are incapable of doing anything wrong. If puppy does something wrong, it was a human's fault. Puppies are pure. Now cats, on the other hand, they assholes. Aren't you, buddy? Aren't you a gigantic asshole? Yeah, you are. I say that, and I have two of the sweetest cats ever. Smokey's like, I want to go back to sleep, motherfucker. You disturbed my nap. Just out of frame is Socrates, who is also taking a nap. Maynard is in the bedroom. I had every intention on carrying a press conference. Is that all they sleep? I would assume it's like 22. They ain't awake very often.
Yeah.
And when they are, they're assholes about it.
Why are they not?
I swear. Okay, so I woke up and Maynard was right next to me, and that's not usual. Maynard was like up against me on my right shoulder. And I kind of rolled over and I put my arm around him and started petting him. And what'd he do? Fucking get up and ran away. Like, he was laying there though, because like the sun from the window was like right there. I've noticed him and Socks both like to go in and lay in that exact spot.
Yes, it is. How you doing? I'm good.
Couldn't give it away.
Sure thing.
What are you trying to give away, dude? I might want it.
Yeah.
You got some bar stools? That's like my next purchase for this place. There's going to be a table that goes in that corner right there with like a couple of stools on it. That's going to be dining area right there. I don't have bar stools here on my bar. I need a coffee table for right there, cause like I'm gonna knock my drinks over sitting them down next to the couch. Can't do that. Need a table. Need a place to sit my bong, my drink, my phone. Oh, that's your baby. Elsa is adorable. Elsa likes to go to the bathroom with you. Maynard showers with me. That is the weirdest fucking thing. I mean, he gets all the way in the shower. And he, like, since we moved here, he has now gotten to the point where anytime I walk into the bathroom, no matter what for, he goes and he jumps in the into the shower or into the bathtub, and he's like meow meow meow, and he wants me to fucking turn on the water for him. He'll even like fight the water and shit. Like he'll start pawing at it. It's fucking cute as shit, but it's also annoying that every time I go in there, he's like meow meow meow. I woke Socks up making the meowing noises. I can't even explain the look he's giving me right now. You really can't see him over there, but he's... a dead-eye stare. Aww. Maynard loves to get under the covers. He just doesn't want me under them too. He like if I lift a blanket up, that motherfucker's all up under. He got up under the blankets on the couch here, like from the back. I was laughing my ass off. Like he was trying to get down onto the couch under the blankets that are. So, also, I've. Couch is giving me sofa dermatitis is what it's called. It's either dust mites or like the shit that's in silica gels that to stop things from molding gets out on the couches. And once you lay on a couch and it's got one of those two things, I don't know which one it is. If you lay on a couch long enough, you will break out. And Curiouser was over here the other day, and I sat down here at the computer, and she's standing right there. And I had a wife beater on. I didn't have a t-shirt on. And she's like, "What's wrong with your shoulder and your back?" And I'm like, "You know what? I had been itching here. What the fuck?" Turns out it's the couch. So... nice couch. No wonder I got it given to me for free. Ooh, I need to spend more time on Reddit, Skycom. And you told me to post a video on there one time, and it did really well. I should spend more time on Reddit. I should spend time on Reddit, period. I have a Reddit account. I don't get on Reddit very much.
What?
Any. So I should indeed put my shit on Reddit more often. I am so glad we have this excellent footage of a door. We've been on this door for at least 40 minutes now, I think.
I'll call myself.
Maybe a press conference is not actually happening and y'all just got psyched out. It's been a little bit. I got my cookware in a couple weeks ago. Made several meals here. I'm still, I've not built back up my spices and kitchen supplies and everything. That takes a little bit. Fucking food is expensive. Fucking spices, man. Fucking a thing of cumin's like $6. I've thought about just getting a spice rack off of Amazon or something that comes like preloaded with spices. Instead of just, buying a few of them at a time as I order groceries. As I'm getting ready to cook for the first time in this kitchen, I'm like, all right, well, a limited budget here. I got $100 to spend. What spices do we get? Gotta get salt, pepper, Worcestershire sauce. That was my picks. We had salmon last night. When I say we had salmon, that's because of fucking socks. You cook some salmon, you give that cat some salmon. I usually buy fresh garlic. Now, I will eventually get a thing of powdered garlic to have on hand. Because you never know, you just grab your garlic and, it's rotten when you need garlic in your shit. But I prefer fresh garlic. I get a lot of things fresh, so... Hell yeah, DJ Dub. .D. After I went through the settings there, I got to thinking about it. Like, it may be something in your Google account that it's not actually on YouTube, that you have to go to your Google account and change some shit. Especially like I'm cooking shit from scratch anyway, so not hard to throw some garlic in and whatever fucking fat I'm frying up. That seems incredibly insightful of me, and that's not usual. There we go. I straightened that shit up. We are still waiting for this press conference to get underway, and I'm out of beverage. I wasn't expecting this to take this long. Can I leave you guys alone with the door? You're not going to do anything to it, are you? Don't let anything happen to the door. while I'm gone. Yeah, I'm wearing pajama pants. What about it? I'm out of tea. Had to get milk. I mean, it's a public courthouse. I would like to see somebody walk through it the other way. Let's make that bitch go clockwise. I love there's a video, and I cut it for like TikTok and shit, where I'm talking about roundabouts. And I'm like, you go clockwise. No, counterclockwise. No, it's clockwise. Like, I keep going back and forth on it. I did indeed put the correct, I don't even remember what it is now. I guess counterclockwise. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, I'm hearing that as well.
We might become very accustomed to watching video of this door as things progress in the criminal trial against Donald Trump. Because I do believe this is the same courthouse. Who had a meltdown about you had to be talking about the British King if you're talking about a carriage, right? God, we saw the pictures of that fucking gaudy ass fucking carriage the other day when we were going over the coronation. Guys, I don't know that we're getting a press conference. We're on door coverage. If you guys are just joining us, Donald Trump found liable for sexual battery, defamation against E. Jean Carroll. Not liable for rape. The jury awarded Carroll $5 million, which Donald Trump will never pay. I'd really like to hear from Mike Tacopino or whatever the fuck his name is. Trump's lawyer in this case, because he seemed like a cool guy, and apparently he had donated to anti-Trump candidates. Since I've not been joining you guys regularly, do let me point out, just another day, mass shooting USA. Another horrific one taking place over the weekend. I haven't checked to see if there's been one today, but there probably has been. The horrific vehicle attack on migrants in Texas on Sunday, I believe it was. There's video of the aftermath of that, and there are not words to describe what I saw in that video, and I can't believe I watched it. The video from the H&M shooting, also heartbreaking. There's a man who helped one of the children that survived. He gave his eyewitness account of everything that happened. It's hard to watch. And of course, the reason I'm not even on Twitch right now is because of mass shootings, or because of covering mass shootings. Oh, here's the it's not a mass shooting today, though there probably has been one. This fuckwad in Louisiana shot a young girl playing hide and seek. Jesus Christ. It looks like a judge is going to order Nashville to turn over the documents related to the school shooter. There's a supposed manifesto, and for some reason, law enforcement has not wanted to make the manifesto public.
Gotta get here early to get that spot. Yeah. I got here. Yeah, all you gotta do is come out, you put the sticks down, and there's nothing to do. 4 hours. I got here at 5:30, but it's still parked at the end. Yeah, right.
It doesn't look like a mass shooting today, but we've had at least 2 people injured in Simi Valley earlier today.
Get a good spot. It's hard to leave. Yeah. Yeah, I want to too.
A 2-year-old was injured in a triple shooting in Philadelphia earlier today.
Well, no, I'm saying around the range. All judges for agencies. They didn't allow you. They changed this to sanitation.
Woman shot multiple times in Beach Grove motel room. So at least there's no mass shootings today. But boy howdy, there's been a lot of shootings today. Borg, I'm very interested to see what the manifesto says. I don't want to speculate. And we might get that while we're on air here. Find out if we can Judge has ordered the Metro Nashville officials to turn over the Covenant school shooters' journals and writings for a judicial review. And the documents must be turned over by noon on Friday. A status conference is scheduled for May 18th. So it looks like it's going to be well into June, because a show cause hearing where Metro Nashville officials can make their case as to why to not have the writings released, that will be held on June 8th. But apparently they've withheld the writings from the court. Something's going on there. Also, I believe this is the start of just horrible legal ramifications for Donald Trump. Jack Smith, the special counsel, actually sat in on Pence's testimony to a federal grand jury. Eight fake electors in Georgia were given immunity and turned state's witness against Trump. The possibility that he actually sees a prison cell is highly likely in my guesstimation at this time. The wild part about that is, if he is incarcerated, will he still run for president? If there is something that leads to his incarceration, I don't know that it would have time to work its way through all the way to the sentencing phase before we got to the presidential election. We are a year and 5 months away. And criminal trials not involving presidents oftentimes take up to a year or more. And one of Donald Trump's go-to legal maneuvers is to delay. I don't know that he could possibly be in a cell before we get to the 2024 presidential election. But wouldn't that be wild? Because there is nothing that stops him from running for president. And as we heard reporters say earlier, he is by far and away the front runner, and who the fuck is going to challenge him on the Republican side? I was far more worried about DeSantis 5 months ago than what I am today. Yeah, I saw the post about the white supremacy. Oh, he's just a Ukrainian soldier. Looks like a Ukrainian soldier to me. Jesus Christ. Wild times we're living in, and I want to be here for it. That's why I'm trying to let all my strikes come off of the YouTube. I'm also resting up. I'm resting up for the insane pace we're going to be on when we get into the actual presidential primary, which will be in full swing in the fall. We will have Republican primary debates in the fall, possibly as early as July. I mean, Trump is having a town hall on CNN like tomorrow, because the presidential race starts earlier and earlier every cycle. I guess that's good for me as a political commentator. I don't think it's good for our country. Oh shit. I tried to answer. I was gonna be like, caller, you're on the Troll Patrol. And apparently I can't answer because I, you know, my camera and everything. We're watching The Door. Donald Trump found liable for sexual battery and liable for defamation. Not liable for rape. The jury has awarded E. Jean Carroll $5 million. We have been here for about an hour and 20 minutes, hour 30 minutes, looking for a press conference to happen, and for some reason it ain't happening. I sentenced the King of England.
Oh, yeah?
I sentenced the King of England to a Gaddafi. And we've had a grand time watching this Door. The Door has been the star of this stream. I even put on the Door as we were watching like the CBS reporters. I put on the Door in the bottom right-hand corner just so we can keep an eye on it. We also learned that you go counterclockwise through a revolving door. That is door etiquette that I was not aware of. I have limited experience with revolving doors. Do they help keep the cold out? Is that why they're like that? This is in New York City. Perhaps, you know, you got a breeze blowing in.
What are you doing?
At Washington Post, like, well, fuck it. We're just going to pack up now. Because we're live on the Washington Post. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner multiple microphones set up. You guys can't see because of my camera. OAN has a microphone. CBS has a microphone. The others don't have flags. That's what those are called. Those are called mic flags. So OAN, CBS represented. The Washington Post like, well, fuck it. Keeps ignorant savages like me out because I don't know how to operate a goddamn revolving door. Yeah, seriously, they're packing up and leaving. They're like, well, fuck it. Gotta go pick the kids up from school. So yeah, we found out the verdict about an hour and 50 minutes ago, almost 2 hours ago now. And still ain't got a press conference. I've been on for an hour and 31 minutes, and we found out as I was coming on. So an hour and a half ago, we found out the verdict. They did. They just gave up and left. Did the journalists set up the podium? I would think that the courthouse set it up. Well, CBS News went off fucking 20 minutes into this. Because we were watching CBS News originally. Okay, something's going on here.
At the end of the day, while it was strange, part of me was obviously very happy that Donald Trump was not branded a rapist. I didn't think there should be any liability findings, so we'll pursue it.
He's branded a sex abuse.
Ah, fucking shit.
That's what I just said about the appeal, right? They're going to be appealing it, but she claimed all along that she's been raped by Donald Trump. That's what this case is all about.
So you shook E. Carroll's hand.
Yeah, this was a circus atmosphere, and having him be here would be more of a circus. And again, what I said in the summation yesterday, range.
So this is Tacopino.
It's that, what more could he say other than I didn't do it? And he said that on the road here. It's hard to prove a negative. Molly, I can say you stole my pen. Prove you didn't do it. How would you prove it? Say you didn't do it, right? I mean, it's sort of where we're at. So, it's very simplistic to say, oh, he should have testified. He had nothing to say other than what he's already said on the road. So
we talked a little bit about how
the deposition was damning.
Well, how does that play in the appeal? The fact that she called a rape case all along.
Yeah, I think it's an inconsistent verdict, right? And it's something that obviously will be another issue for appeal. But the issue for the appeals were laid really months ago when things like Donald Trump's attempt to have the dress tested for DNA after they sent it into a lab and didn't come up with semen. I think that's something that was important. The fact that the Reid Hoffman, the Democratic financier, who not candid about when she testified initially under oath in her deposition, that should come into this case. The Access Hollywood tape should not have come into this case. There's a federal rule called 403 that balances out inflammatory and prejudicial things, and that certainly was one of them. So, but there's plenty of issues to appeal, and look, that's what happens, right? We're in one sense gratified, and I know some people in this camp are very happy that the rape claim was rejected, but I'm not, and I am happy about that certainly, but I'm not happy that he was found liable for anything whatsoever because on this evidence I didn't think he should have been.
Put stopping career.
He's strong. He's ready to move forward.
You might be right on that, Mater. That he tried to sneak out the back door, and the press got him.
Second Circuit with Judge Kaplan on Carroll versus Trump, and he thinks he's going to be successful on the second one. But he's planning. He's got a town hall tomorrow night. He's just moving forward as he always does.
Is this going to derail his
nope.
second? Is this going to derail?
Here. This situation is the complicate the career for the President Donald Trump. This case.
No, I don't think so. He seems to be a survivor and move forward.
They also have nice doors on this side, but they don't have a revolving door.
Sexual predator.
Is he doing a sound stream? I think he's going to sort of run away.
He did. He got caught sneaking out. You were almost certainly right about that, but I can't say it with certainty.
And unfortunately, having
I got journalistic standards here.
I don't think it was fair or was right. It sort of prevents a thorough jury selection. And we couldn't challenge people who we didn't know, what their backgrounds were. So we look at faces, basically.
Are you going to see a good stay of the final judgment pending appeal?
We will.
What did you say to Eugene when you shook her hand?
Oh no! Listen. This is what I said to her is between Ms. Carroll and I. But I don't make it personal with people, and we had a pretty good experience as far as.
I'd say he thinks Donald Trump did it.
What we went through. This was not an easy case.
What do you think about how fast they came out?
Yeah, it was fast. Again, it's hard to see behind a jury room door, and I don't know what they were thinking, or what it sort of indicates is what people have been saying is that in New York you just can't get a fair trial, and people say
Sexual assault and rape is the same thing.
Fucking Neanderthal! You're a fucking Neanderthal!
Thank you.
Fuck you, Tacopina! You fucking Neanderthal beast! Your boss is a coward! Your boss is a coward!
Now, that's true. I think Tacopino's a good guy, though. I don't know this to be fact. He donated to anti-Trump candidates.
By Robbie Kaplan.
I'd say Tagopina said, like, you know, congratulations to E. Jean. I'm glad you got justice or some shit like that.
You should be proud.
Cockapina doesn't seem like a dumb guy.
Guys, thank you very much.
I love them chanting at him. Okay, you see journalists running, so perhaps the press conference has started. Or maybe he's just trying to get ahead of Tagopina here.
Be careful backing up, alright, guys? Yep.
Watch your step. Watch your step, guys.
Just be careful backing up.
This is a civil case.
Try not to be behind.
E. Jean Carroll sued for defamation. Trump is indeed a rapist. That protester is correct.
We can't really go that.
Yeah, we can. We're gonna go through.
Got my shot.
Excuse me.
Just doing my best.
Excuse me.
It's hard. I know.
It's a little nuts right here.
Be alright.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, you missed his comment, Sky Comet.
A picture with each in
I'm enjoying the protesters.
Look what.
You know, we're going back around to the other side of the courthouse, so perhaps the press conference is underway? Maybe? Or they're still just trying to swarm Tagopina?
Be careful, guys.
I'm watching you.
Excuse me.
Sir, any comments on today's verdict?
Oh, I just made a bunch of them before. Sorry.
Would you just make a quick comment from your station, please?
Watch back. Watch your back. Watch your back. Oh, see? Watch your back. Watch your back.
I got my shot.
Watch your back.
Be careful backing up, everybody. Where are we going?
Watch your back.
Watch your back. Where's your car?
It's I parked in the Bronx.
I parked in the Bronx.
Watch your back. I lost off.
You got your.
This is city bike. This is real. Just be careful backing up.
Go ahead.
You think Mr. Muhammad is trying for the presidency?
No, I'm not political in nature.
Are you talking about Tagopina?
I don't think so.
Thank you,
Lawyer's weak, just like Trump is weak.
Trump lawyer.
Sorry if any of you are getting motion sickness from the Washington Post reporter running around with their camera on a tripod here. I think we're heading back to the door.
Federal jury found former Trump liable. All right.
We've been waiting for a press conference that I don't know is ever going to happen.
No, we were literally the camera in front of him.
Yeah.
So we are back to our spot in front of the door.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot. Yep, I'm pretty sure. Actually, like
I had you, an eye on all your gear, Ted.
Aw, glad he watched it for him. So there you can see a podium has been set up. I'm sure that's just courthouse personnel.
was during like the event, we were all taking turns like coming down here, and Frank was here one day, and I said, "Oh, what's going on down there?" You know,
we are now back to the door.
Usual crews, Andrew, Ted, those guys.
I am going to give it till 5 o'clock Eastern time. Fuzzy face. Welcome in, everyone. Trump found liable for the sexual battery of E. Jean Carroll, liable for defamation in a civil trial. The jury awarding E. Jean Carroll $5 million. I've always liked Michael Cohen. Like, I'm sure he's a slimy piece of shit. But, like, in his appearances, he always seems like a likable guy.
I know. I tried. I don't know why he would exit the other way.
Mater told us exactly why he would exit the other way.
I think he thought that there were very few people on the other side. And I'm like, no.
He tried to sneak out. Exactly.
Uber down the street, like a block away.
He doesn't think about that.
We might have just lost the feed. I don't know if that was the end. Still never got to see the lawyers for Carroll. Carroll left the courthouse an hour and 20 minutes ago. At least an hour ago. We're still live on the Washington Post channel. We do not have our footage of the door anymore. Bosch is on. Go back with here. Now this has it. They also go black? What the fuck? Well, he absolutely raped her. Go to live now from Fox and see what we got. Well, shit. A jaunty little number. They heard evidence, Steelers. That's how trials work. Well, he lied multiple times in his deposition. They even asked him to identify a woman in a picture. He thought the woman was Marla Maples, his ex-wife, and it turned out to be E. Jean Carroll. He said he never frequented the department store where the rape occurred. They have multiple people stating that he was there quite often.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. Of course, a live look there at the podium as we continue to follow all of this major news here on Live Now from Fox.
What's going on at the White House?
Of course, following all the breaking news, and we will take you out to if any GOP lawmakers, including Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, steps up to this. We did have cameras inside the Oval Office while Speaker Kevin McCarthy, there was
McCarthy, McConnell, and Biden are meeting.
President Joe Biden and other Democratic leaders. Let's Let's take you back inside this meeting and let's see if we can listen in to any remarks, anything they were asked, because I imagine some reporters shouted out some questions. Let's just take you back inside the Oval Office at this meeting on the debt ceiling.
Mr. President, can you comment on the
There you see Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
She was good. She got a clear shot at you.
Wait, is that Bobby Frey? Is that Bobby Frey? Yeah, Bobby Flay?
You're just listening in there as people were shouting questions at him, but you can see on those couches in the Oval Office several GOP lawmakers, including Speaker Kevin McCarthy as well as Mitch McConnell. They were meeting with the president there as we're awaiting outside of the White House now, as Kevin McCarthy might come out and make some remarks. Of course, this relating to the debt ceiling as that debate continues on as a stand.
I will definitely be back in time for all the fireworks on the debt ceiling, because this is going to come down to the last minute.
They'd be walking out. We heard him speak.
We're not gonna get a deal on the debt ceiling before I'm back on May 21st.
These remarks as soon as they happen here on Live Now from Fox. We want to continue on and we get you a few live pictures from around the country, including out of Arizona, as the governor of Arizona, Katie Hobbs, expected to make some remarks in Tucson on Title 42, as we're just days away from the expiration of that. Here is the live picture right now. As you can see,
we're getting plenty of fear-mongering from idiot-ass right-wingers.
Press conference taking place there just south of Phoenix in the Tucson area. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on as well here. So we'll go out to that as soon as it happens. Until then, let's keep it with all these themes. Politics. Let's take you back out to the Senate floor as we're seeing senators make some remarks here. Let's listen into this live, raw, and unfiltered.
Go on the hip.
Oh, God, we come back to fucking Kennedy.
Can kill you. But you've got to have this much. I don't know how many pencil points this is, but it's a lot. You got to have.
And he's talking about drugs.
5-year sentence. 40 grams. It would kill 20,000 people. It will kill. This amount will kill every member of this body 200 times over. Every member of this body 200 times over. And
fucking line them out, motherfucker. Go for it. That would be the most popular decision in the history of this fucking country.
Dealer would just get a minimum 5-year sentence.
Cut it out. Cut it out. Right now, Senator Kennedy. Let's see you guys do some rails.
Has 400 grams in it. It's flour, but fentanyl would represent the same thing.
What?
This has 400 grams. You have to have 400 grams, given the laws that we have passed, to face a mandatory 10-year sentence.
All research in successful drug policy shows that treatment should be increased while abolishing mandatory minimum sentences.
Dead as a doornail. Shreveport, Louisiana, and my state.
They're trying to build a prison.
If you haven't, you should visit. Is home to 180.
Shreveport is one of the most dangerous cities in the country.
So a dealer has to
wasting our time.
An amount that would kill every man, woman, and child in Shreveport.
I've done fentanyl before, you dumb shit.
A mandatory 10-year sentence. Now, these sentencing guidelines do not reflect how much damage can be done with just a little bit of fentanyl. For example,
which is wild that my dad was like, hold out your finger and put a bunch of the shit on my fucking finger.
5 grams of amphetamine. Here's my chart here. To get a minimum of 5 years in prison, you have to have just 5 grams of methamphetamine. But you have to have 40 grams of fentanyl.
All mandatory minimums are bullshit. They do not work. They do not serve as a deterrent.
Now, meth's a bad drug. I'm not defending meth. But it's not nearly as lethal as fentanyl. This stuff will kill you.
That's flour.
They deal with it every day in America. They deal it every day, and they're not facing consequences. In 2021, in fact, meth killed less than half as many people as fentanyl. Yet fentanyl.
But the people that were dying from fentanyl weren't going out here and buying fentanyl.
That sounds too tame to me. Too beige. They're dealers. They're drug dealers. They're death dealers. Fentanyl dealers fentanyl before facing the same mandatory minimum sentence as somebody who's dealing meth. We need a sentencing scheme that looks like somebody designed the damn thing on purpose.
Why not, Steelers?
Now,
Are you
we
dumb?
need to have a criminal code that reflects fentanyl's lethal force. I
got really fucking high on that shit.
2023. It's pretty simple. It will cut.
You're just listening in there to senators make those.
Old Lady Kennedy.
As we continue on covering all of these things here on Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to give you just a roundup before we take you out to Tucson, Arizona. A live look there.
Once again, this was in 2006. I didn't even know what the shit was at the time.
Discussion with President Joe Biden in the Oval Office.
This was long before it was a household name that fucking idiot-ass right-wingers were using to fearmonger.
Title 42 and that expiration coming on just a few days on May the 11th. Katie Hobbs there stepping to the podium right now. She will make remarks there as the surge at the U.S.-Mexico border.
I used to, like when I was doing news in Eastern Kentucky, I got a DARE shirt from the local sheriff's office, and it had like their cop car, and it had like a DARE badge or whatever, and it said DARE on the front of it, and had like the sheriff's office name. I wore that fucking thing everywhere, right? It was like my favorite t-shirt.
Abbott, as he was discussing the Texas Tactical Border Force. Certainly two very close border states, very important border states there. As this will get going in moments, but as you can see here on Live Now from Fox.
Dealers, I don't think you're very bright.
There on the right is Katie Hobbs. So let's listen into this.
Are you saying I was 14 in 2006? Because I wasn't.
I am back here in Tucson to discuss one of the most pressing issues the city and our other border communities.
I was a news director of 9 radio stations.
The expiration of Title 42. This morning, I met with city officials, including Mayor Romero, and sheriffs from throughout the
This is the Democratic governor of Arizona.
About this ongoing situation and what my administration plans to do in order to help. What I heard is this. With Title 42 set to expire in just 2 days, the federal government is prepared. As a result, Arizona communities will face incredible challenges trying to deal with the influx of people entering the country. When I took office, I made it a priority to visit our border communities and meet with leaders on the ground. In under 100 days, we visited both the Tucson and Yuma sectors, and I'm proud to say this is my 7th time visiting Tucson.
Okay, boomer.
I promised to the people of Arizona that I would put partisan politics aside and instead bring people together to solve our biggest problems. That's why today you'll hear from Jan Lesher, the Pima County Administrator, Alan Clark, the Director of the Arizona Department of Emergency and Military Affairs, and Lane Mandel, the Chief of Staff for the City of Manager's Office. These leaders and the people who are here behind me are on the front line of our border crisis and will bear the brunt of the challenges faced with the end of Title 42. Yesterday, I laid out our 5-point preparedness approach for how we will manage the lifting of Title 42. Critical to our success on the ground will be partnerships with organizations like Casa Alitas, local governments like the City of Tucson and Pima County, and local law enforcement. I have seen firsthand the dedication and care that is put into making sure that we have a safe, humane, and orderly process. I've also seen the challenges Casalitas faces with capacity, something that is only going to get more strained when Title 42 is lifted.
We still never got a press conference about the Trump
In
shit.
Tucson and Pima County. My message to our border communities is this: we stand with you. We are here to support you. The state stands prepared to scale up its transportation,
Dealers, stop being weird,
and public safety activities to meet the needs on the ground. Just yesterday, we stood up 5 additional bus routes for migrant
What the fuck does female mindset mean?
without the scale and capacity to handle the additional migrants. These activities will happen on a rolling basis throughout the state.
I'm not high enough for Steelers.
Humane and orderly lifting. So far, we have identified $7 million that is immediately available for us to put to use, scaling up operations. This money will come from the Border Security Fund. My team is working diligently to find any additional source of money that we can best aid our local governments with.
Did you look under the couch cushions?
In addition,
you can usually get 50, 75 cents
in the budget to go towards transportation. But we know the state government cannot handle this situation alone. I've written to the federal government demanding that they take action on the following steps: finalizing the shelter and services program, addressing the processing challenges at our ports of entry, directing DHS to develop a specific plan to decompress border communities with a large influx, and continuing to target fentanyl smugglers who may exploit this situation for their own gain.
Jesus, you're a Democrat.
Reports from border communities that are seeing their capacity strained. During my meeting with sheriffs, I heard the devastating impact of federal inaction.
As we found out, like, the people that are bringing the fentanyl into this country aren't fucking immigrants. It's like, what was it, the head of the police union in California.
I'm here to learn how we can best support our NGOs on the ground. I knew coming into this office the challenges that lay ahead of us, and that the only way to make meaningful change is by listening to experts on the ground. I've heard their concerns, and it's clear we can no longer wait to take action. As I've said, we are in a fluid situation, and we've developed an approach that can be flexible to adapt to the challenges we face as they arise. And that's what we're doing here today. Thank you to law enforcement, local elected leaders, and humanitarian organizations for your hard work and dedication to your communities. It is my hope that these actions will take us in the right direction and send a message that my administration is here to support during what we know will be a very challenging time. And with that, I'll turn it over to
support who, though?
County Administrator Jan Lesher.
Thank you very much, Governor Hobbs and Director Clark. We so much appreciate you being here. As the governor I know has mentioned and many have discussed recently, there's immigration and...
You gotta love just the idiot-ass right-winger mindset of Steelers. He hears California. It's like, oh, California bad. Not that he heard that a cop was the one dealing the fentanyl.
In Pima County. We've had a very good relationship over the last several years with Catholic Community Services, Casalitas, who's running the facility today, and the initial welcome center, and the city of Tucson. We have so many other partners in this, but it has really been made possible.
Now, Tadpole.
To receive the federal funding.
Let's not comment on a woman's looks like that.
Federal program and concern.
Oh, you meant she was a drug mule.
And some initial emergency funds that continue to come into Arizona.
I forgot we were talking about drugs, weren't we?
Who are coming into our community. We became involved as Pima County in 2019, and some of you are here to remember when we worked with...
Wouldn't it suck to be the Marine that had to open and close the door for people?
Since that time, all of it possible.
Why do we have him act like that? That's so weird.
They were already at it when we joined the effort, but we've been able again to continue to fund them to do what they do best and keep people coming into our facility and getting on as quickly as humanly possible.
Is it just me, or having the motherfucker do the motions like that and stand like that? That's just odd.
this community through this with CBP and with ICE.
You don't think for yourself. You're an idiot.
Move on very quickly. The job is to provide them the shelter, the food, the service, and that ability to get the continuity with where they're finally going. But our hope is that when these guests
guarding the door, motherfucker, he's there to open and close the door, and he's got to do like some kind of ceremonial dance when he does it. That's stupid.
Border protection here in southern Arizona, and
give that man a fucking seat.
Our own Director Shane Clark.
If you bougie motherfuckers absolutely have to have somebody open and close the door for you, pay him well and give him a fucking stool.
Counties to make sure that everyone is safe, including our own individual residents. So we really appreciate the governor being here to help additional eyes come on this. As I mentioned, everything we've been doing great, but we're all watching with some trepidation on what happens on May 11th when additional folks come into our community. But
fuzzy face.
Standing around me today and the leadership of the governor and our federal partners, we can keep doing it. So thank you. And with that, it's my job to introduce Mr. Alan Clark, who's the Director of State of Arizona Emergency Management. Thank you.
Thank you. He's opening a goddamn door. And there's no reason to do that fucking dance. That's stupid.
Major General Kerry Muhlenbeck, the Adjutant General and Director.
Here is...
You're just listening in there.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. We're going to go live to his remarks. Looks like he's walking out with Chucky Boy Schumer, too.
We're just following major news out of Washington, D.C. as the Oval Office meeting between Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
There is fucking turtle-ass McConnell.
Live as McCarthy will make some remarks after this meeting on the debt ceiling.
97 days ago, I was right here after meeting with the president. On February 1st, I came down to see him, saying, let's work together in a responsible, sensible way that we can lift the debt ceiling and find a way that we can curb this increasing debt that is affecting every American.
You shouldn't be doing that fucking dance. It's stupid.
Banks of our fourth largest banks have closed, or in the debt problem. Nothing has changed since then. The only thing that has changed is the House has raised the debt ceiling and passed the bill. That's why we had a meeting today. Everybody in this meeting reiterated the positions they were at. I didn't see any new movement. The president said the staff should get back together, but I was very clear with the president. We have now just 2 weeks to go. If Chuck Schumer could pass something, we'd go to conference right away and solve that. But I don't think Chuck Schumer can pass anything. They haven't dealt with it. Unfortunately, the president has waited 97 days without ever meeting. Every day I asked, could we meet? And he said no. The House has raised the debt ceiling in a responsible manner, curb our spending at the same time, bring us economic growth. And I asked the president this simple question. Does he not believe there's any place we could find savings? He signed a bill that the House passed, became law, that the pandemic is over. We have $50 to $60 billion that have sat out there that have been appropriated for more than 2 years that we could pull back and save the taxpayer money. We could put in growth packages that help us economically, cutting the red tape so we could build things in America again. We could have items that he actually voted for, like work requirements that just passed in Wisconsin.
The Republicans want to crash the economy.
To help our supply chain get stronger.
Because what happens if they cause a recession between now and the presidential election?
The next 2 weeks, so we could actually solve this problem and not take America on the brink.
Well, as I think all of you know, I've been through a few debt ceilings over the years. Let me first...
It's always you guys!
The United States is not going to default. It never has, and it never will. However, elections have consequences. We now have divided government. We didn't have a divided government last year. In 2019, I told President Trump, who was no fan of Speaker Pelosi, that they needed to work it out. Why? We had divided government. The solution to this problem lies with two people: the President of the United States, who can sign a bill and deliver the members of his party to vote for it, and the Speaker of the House. There is no sentiment in the Senate, certainly not 60 votes, for a clean debt ceiling. So there must be an agreement, and the sooner the president and the speaker can reach an agreement, the sooner we can solve the problem.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Did the president tell you that there were any spending cuts that he would be open to?
Well, I asked him numerous times, are there some places we could find savings? He wouldn't give me any, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to find them. You can't spend more money, which his budget does, than the pandemic. They added $6 trillion when they're in the majority, and what happened? We got inflation. We heard
Whoa! Most of that was under Trump.
Find places that we can grow this economy, and that's exactly what the House bill does. Look, I would have loved to have spent from February 1st on working together and negotiating something. Unfortunately,
have a good evening, Scott Comet.
So I had to look for things that Democrats had agreed to before. Like, Senator Manchin believes that we should cap the growth going forward.
Senator Manchin about to lose his job.
Spend more each year, but only 1%. That would save.
Are you guys ready for Senator Jim Justice from West Virginia?
We'd find ways to grow the economy by making
infinitely more entertaining than Senator Joe Manchin.
The red tape on the permitting reform so we could build things again. I thought that was a common ground idea that we can all get together on. So we had made sure that we wouldn't go into default, so the House raised the debt limit and also had growth for the rest. Yes.
Steelers, you're on thin ice.
Do you feel confident that June 1st deadline?
I didn't see much difference in the statements from the president or from Chuck Schumer, for that fact. I mean, Chuck's whole idea before was to take us to the brink and someone's going to have to break, right? I don't want to play politics with this. I think this
bullshit.
That's why 3 months ago I came to the president. Can't we find a way? I know we're both going to have to give and take. That's the way the founders have created our government. A House, a Senate, the executive branch. So let's sit down together, find places we can agree upon, and get this done. Because they ignored us, we had to go on our own, and we passed a bill to do that. Yes?
What are the odds of default now after this meeting, and what happens next?
Well, the House made sure we wouldn't have default because we raised the debt limit. Now, the Senate hasn't done anything. Well, the Senate hasn't done anything. That would come down really to Chuck Schumer and the president. The House made sure we wouldn't default. We are ones who raised the debt limit. We've sent it to the Senate. We've sat with the president. I've tried to. For 97 days, he has said no. I think the only reason we are actually here today is because we passed something. But I hope you only got about 2 more weeks to try to get this done.
So, Mr. Speaker, Congress does have the purse strings here. And if you are not able to prevent default, are you prepared to own it?
Well, I don't see how we would own it if we raised the debt limit. So if I look back, the House raised the debt ceiling, the Senate has not, and the president hadn't negotiated. So I find that very
Steelers, you're on thin ice.
Any proposals to this meeting, and is there a plan for another meeting after this? When would that be? And one question to Leader McConnell: how is the president's posture in this meeting different than how you've seen him in the past over this very same issue?
The first part, and I'll turn it over to the leader. The staff will get together and we'll get back together the principals on Friday.
Well, I can tell you how it was done in 2019. After I told President Trump he didn't have any choice but to deal with the Speaker, he designated the Secretary of the Treasury, Mnuchin. The discussions began. Out of that was
that asshole.
The debt ceiling increase and a caps proposal that lasted for 2 years. So I come back to where I started. The solution is between the one person in America who can sign a bill into law and the Speaker of the House. And the sooner they get together, the better. If they get together, the bill will pass both the House and the Senate on a bipartisan basis.
Leader McConnell clearly said the United States will not default on its debt. Can you say the same, that the United States will not default on its debt?
Yeah, because the House raised the debt limit. I'm Speaker of the House. I'm not the leader of the Senate. I'm not the president. So your question is, will not default? I've done everything in my power to make sure it will not default. We have passed a bill that raised the debt limit. Now, I haven't seen that.
Kelly.
So I don't know.
What gives you that
Yes.
confidence, Mr. McConnell? What gives you that
has said
confidence,
that
Mr.
he's
McConnell?
willing to negotiate over spending, but he's not going to do so with a gun to the head of the American economy. Did you reiterate that to today? And what was?
Well, what's interesting is I would never want to put any gun to anybody's head. That's why I came February 1st. I sat out here. I want to have something responsible.
Well, he sat outside of the White House.
And then I just say to you and the American public, would it be wrong if you took hardworking taxpayers' money and you had billions of dollars appropriated for a pandemic that is now over? Why wouldn't you pull that back?
Pandemic is not over.
To put some control. Remember what we're talking about. A debt ceiling is like...
Apparently, there's some dude in Ohio that has some wild strain
but would you just raise
that has mutated but isn't infecting other people, and they keep detecting him in the wastewater.
Understand that the president has to sign it and it has to pass the Senate. So why couldn't we, for the last 97 days, talk about this? Why would it, when a president who was vice president before, if you look at all of his quotes, this is a man who prided himself. They called him the Biden negotiations. This is a man, the President Biden, when he was senator, he actually voted against debt ceilings because they said they didn't cut enough in spending. This is a president who, when he was vice president, Joe Biden, when it was a $14 trillion debt, said, we have to do something about this big debt that we have. It is now $31 trillion.
Shut up, Steelers.
I think every single household believes you need to be able to do something responsible and sensible, and that's what we've been trying to do for the last 3 months.
Leader McConnell, what gives you that confidence after this meeting, Leader McConnell, that there will be a default?
What did I watch?
When you said that the U.S. has never defaulted and never will, what gives you that confidence right now to say that?
Yeah, look. The United States.
I absolutely think the Republicans are going to do everything they can to crash the economy.
We are having a debate here in conjunction with raising the debt ceiling.
That they see that as their only way to
$2.6 trillion
take the Senate and win the presidency in 2024.
On a partisan vote, we ought to have at least some restraint on our spending related to the debt ceiling. And this is not unusual. We've been here before. Debt ceilings have frequently carried other measures. What we have here is we're running out of time.
I think everybody knows it too.
To get serious and to sit down with the speaker and get a solution.
Remember what we're talking about here. No, just for all of you to understand what we're talking about, okay?
And that is the problem. Americans are dumb enough to buy, or enough of the voting populace.
We should only spend the next year what we spent 5 months ago.
When did it crash, Steelers?
What we spent 5 months
What are you talking about?
is more than how much President Biden...
The jobs numbers exceeded expectations again in April.
Were people being hurt? Were people not getting their veteran care? Were people not getting everything they asked for 5 months ago? That is what we're asking for. Is that too much? That we can raise a debt limit, spend what we spent 5 months ago, pull back that COVID money that has sat there for 2 years, put work requirements in that help the supply chain, help people get promoted and get more jobs, make us energy independent so Americans have a lower cost in their energy bills. Now, if they have a better idea, I'm sitting here...
Oh, yeah, they should absolutely just do away with the debt limit. It's fucking bullshit.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Did you address the argument from the administration that House Republicans want to cut veterans' benefits? And also, sir, are you confident that if the House Republicans would accept anything less than the House bill if the cuts were less?
Listen, first of all, cutting the veterans is a lie. Where in the bill does it say we cut veterans? You'll find next week when we do our appropriation bill, we increase the funding to veterans. But this is what I'm talking about. That type of behavior is pure political rhetoric. This is too important issue to play political games with. So if one side's going to sit back and say those type of things, all I'm asking is that we spend the amount of money we spent 5 months ago. Were veterans getting their care 5 months ago? We're actually going to increase. And how the system works It's just like any other household. You get a certain amount of income.
No, financial policy is nothing like a household income
Process.
or a
Republicans and
household
Democrats
budget.
alike will get to sit in committee and decide how much to spend. The difference is that we'll spend what we spent 5 months ago, and we can decide what our priorities. So we'll probably look with a fine-tooth comb. Where is there some waste in government? I'm sure every single American can point a lot out.
Oh, I can. Your salary, motherfucker.
And we can spend less on the waste.
If the president doesn't move, will you, for the sake of the country?
Well, this is so great for the sake of the country.
Dealers, you're an idiot.
We would never be in a place like this.
Yes, the World Health Organization declared that it's endemic now.
When he would not move and
I just said we're still dealing with COVID. What the WHO said didn't negate what I said. You fucking moron.
Biden, that was a senator and a vice president who believed.
God damn. Dumbest fucks walking the planet.
But even though that he wouldn't do that, the House passed a bill to make sure for the American people that we wouldn't get there. And we were able to do it. Yes, sir. Yes.
Was anything accomplished at today's meeting? 1. 2, is this country looking down the road at future generations at 40, 50, $60 trillion of debt? And when does the card max out?
Well, it's more than that, because when you think about this, and this is what the American public should...
You're an idiot.
How do you get in a situation like this? You can put blame on all sides. You spend more money than you bring in. On a 50-year average, we normally spend about 21% of GDP. But what happened when the Democrats took the majority, they increased that to more than 24%. Now, is there enough money coming in? Well, on a 50-year average, we usually bring in about 17% roughly of GDP. Right now, we're at 20%. Do you know how many times we've ever brought in this much money or this higher percent? Only 2 times in modern history, in 1944 and 2000. So we have more money coming in at any given time. But what's the problem is they've increased spending by $6 trillion. So that brought us inflation. That brought us this problem. You have a $31 trillion debt. Now, what does that mean? That's bigger than our whole economy by 20%. We've only been in this situation by a percentage one other time after during World War II. Now, the real concern that I have, if you don't tackle or start tackling this problem now, you're harming all the future generations. I think every American would care for their children and their grandchildren. So, is it too much to ask that we simply spend what we spent 5 months ago? Is it too much to ask to say, let's take that COVID money that you did not spend and let's give that back to the taxpayer to be able to raise the debt ceiling?
During the meeting, did you get the impression that the president could use other options such as invoking 14th Amendment?
None of that was brought up.
Can you tell us whether the president and yourself are part of that?
Yes. Well, what we agreed to is we'll have the staff come together and meet during the week, and we'll get back together on Friday and see if we get any place. No, all 5.
Do you think any progress has been made?
I'm sorry, what?
This has been a month-long impasse.
3 months long impasse.
We've heard the dire warnings from the Treasury Secretary.
This dude, I've pointed out his mustache before.
That's why the House Republicans passed.
Fantastic mustache.
We actually lifted the debt ceiling. The Senate has not. I mean, I've listened to Chuck Schumer all this time. He hasn't done anything. And I don't know what he needs in the debt ceiling. I know they passed in March, they made that Maine maple syrup month. If he needs that in the debt ceiling, I'm willing to agree to that too. But I wish they had stopped playing.
Oh, he thought about that for a while, didn't he?
Please, let me finish.
He came up with that last night.
Rhetoric, they're saying certain things are being cut or not. I want the American people to understand. Is it too much that we ask that we simply spend what we spent 5 months ago? Is it
because you don't want us to know what you're wanting to cut?
That we find waste in government, like that 50 to 60 billion.
Let's not talk about what it is Republicans are wanting to cut, which is Medicaid and Veterans Affairs.
So we could build roads and highways and solar and wind panels and make us energy independent. If that's too much for the Democrats, tell me what they think is right.
If I actually went out in crowds, I would wear a mask.
Children's money.
And there's your answer, and
I think that's
as well anyone should.
Yes, sir. I don't think a short-term extension does anything. We've got a timetable here. I know the president wasted 97 days. You know, I came and sat with him, and I told him that, listen, We should work together.
We're already a shithole country.
I won't predetermine what we have to have. I think you should spend less than you spent last year since we spent too much money. I think we should find ways that we can grow this economy. He said he wouldn't, you reported this, how many times he sat there and said he wouldn't meet with us. Then he changed, even though he tweeted after that meeting that he has said he agreed to meet on ways to make the economy stronger and ways we would find savings. He changed, and he met with me the next day at the prayer breakfast and said we were going to get together. Well, he changed his mind apparently. And then he said we had to pass a budget that does nothing with a debt ceiling. Well then, Senator Schumer would tweet at us every day we had to have a plan even though he didn't produce one. Well, we produced a plan, we raised the debt ceiling, and we sent it to the Senate. The challenge here is the president wasted 97 days and now the Secretary of Treasury has come and told us the date's even sooner. Thankful that we did something early so we wouldn't be in that problem. Now I got to see what the Senate could do so we could go to conference. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Speaker, a
Yeah.
jury just found Donald Trump liable of sexual...
And we never got a press conference.
You know what? I've been in this meeting. Let me find out what they said.
Do you think any progress has been made through this meeting today?
Well, the progress is made is that we were actually able to meet. So that's a difference in the president's take. For 97 days, he denied the ability for anybody to negotiate. I don't know how many times you asked him about it. I'd ask him every day. I offered to bring food to meet. I would do anything we could that we could meet together and work on a bill.
Clearly, you didn't offer ice cream. That's the way to the president's heart.
Interesting is, I've said the same thing when it comes to the border. And now we have a problem with Title 42 this week. Now the House, same thing. I tried to meet with them to how we could secure the border.
We never got a press conference, Shelley. Trump found liable for sexual battery. We got comments from Takapina.
Deal with the Title 42 so these millions of people.
But we didn't get
we are trying to find
Carroll's lawyers giving a statement.
But I think what we really need is a partner.
And Socks is staring at me with that look again. I don't know. What, buddy? What?
You're just listening in there, Kevin McCarthy talking about the debt ceiling, but also talking about Title 42. Of course,
are we finally getting the press conference?
The big four leaders, two on Democrats, two.
That why we're cutting your way?
President Biden will meet again on Friday. This coming after he said he didn't see any movement regarding the debt ceiling at this meeting at the Oval Office. I'm Ed Mack here on Live Now from Fox. Of course, we're going to take you out to El Paso, Texas, coming up after the break as Kevin McCarthy was speaking about Title 42 expected to expire this week. We'll have a live report coming up in 2 minutes.
All right, that sounds like a good place for me to end it for this special report. Once again, I will be back full time again, Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, finding out what that news be doing come May 21st. Oh, camera's up here now. I'm still working out the kinks on the new setup. May 21st, we'll be back. Hopefully on Twitch, hopefully on YouTube, Facebook, everything. Once again, May 21st, we'll be finding out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Trump found liable for sexual battery and defamation against E. Jean Carroll. We never got a press conference, but we got to watch the revolving door for over an hour. I'm going to do a show tomorrow night. I will be on YouTube and whatever you get, 2 platforms. I do not have my Restream account activated right now, so you get me on 2 places. YouTube and Kick, YouTube and Odyssey. If you guys want a specific place besides YouTube, drop it in the Discord. If you want me on DLive or some shit, I don't know what the secondary place will be. But I'm gonna do a stream tomorrow. There's been too much shit going on not to talk about it. I can't wait to be back on regularly. I've enjoyed the break, but I've missed doing this. I'm doing this because Twitch currently has me indefinitely suspended. Hopefully that is over on May 13th. I have no indication that it is, but I got a 30-day ban, And then they accused me of ban evasion because I was on when I got the 30-day ban. 8 p.m. Same troll time, same troll place. Yeah, if you're watching on Twitch, which you're not, I can't send you over anywhere. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'll see you guys tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.